Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 86 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. Today we're talking about the MGP, which stands for Mental Goal Process, Step 3, Steps to Getting Your Goal using Power Vision movie tool or technique or whatever you want to call it. So I actually started to do this one yesterday to work through it for myself. We're taking the goal that we set for ourselves yesterday and we're breaking it down into the steps it's going to take in order to achieve that. So the first thing I had to do was decide, well, how am I going to measure it? Well, when we did our SMART goal, I said I'm going to increase my positive self-talk by 25% by the end of the year. Now, how do you know if you're doing that or not? That's what I had to think about first. And then I said, well, what are my steps to get my goal? Well, first we have to figure out how to do a math breakdown of the 25%. How much or what would I have to change, or how many times would I have to change it in order to get to that total 25% by the end of the year, or something better, right? I always want to shoot for my goal or surpass my goal by doing that or something better. So that was my first step. My second step was tally, measurement, and count process. I have to figure out, how am I going to keep track of, how am I going to actually measure if I'm using more positive self-talk than negative self-talk. Maybe I'll just tally the number of times I catch myself saying something negative or thinking something negative and then flipping it to a positive before it negatively impacts me. Will I be perfect at counting that? Absolutely not. It's a really subjective thing. Well, some days I might even forget to count at all. Probably. I'm human. I'll make mistakes and skip a day here and there. But if we track every day between now and the end of the year, I should be able to see some patterns and if we're increasing. So I actually did the math and broke it down by what percent would I have to do, and then I need to transfer that into what would the count be. But since I don't know what my baseline is right now, I'm not sure what that is yet, but it'll be a percentage of that number. And then step 3, how and where to track it. Step 4, graph the data. I'm going to actually do nerdy engineer stuff and graph the data so I can see how it's trending and if I'm actually meeting my milestone goals and objectives. And then number 5, compare to days or the daily goal breakdown for benchmarking. So I can tell, am I meeting that goal or objective or not? So what you're going to do today for an action item is you're going to think about your goal, and we're going to think about it using a tool I learned from a gentleman by the name of Jim Edwards. He's an online copywriter, marketer, and he taught me a thing called, I think it was 5 Days to Getting Whatever You Want or something. It was a course and a book that he wrote at least a decade ago now. And he taught us something called the Power Vision movie. And basically it's just a form of visualization where you put yourself in the action in the movie so that you can actually feel like you're experiencing the thing you want as if you've already got it. So I can probably visualize myself in a situation I want to be in using positive self-talk, right? Being my own internal cheerleader versus my own little internal devil or critic. So you add all your senses, and when you put yourself in the movie, and we do that, right? When we're reading a book, we imagine very vividly the characters, the scene, and oftentimes we put ourselves in the place of one of the characters, usually the hero or heroine, but sometimes a minor character. We get to decide and choose. The same thing happens when we're at a movie. I think the movies that we like the most are the ones that we can relate to a specific character to, and we feel as if we are in that movie and going through the experiences and the adventures with that person. Of course, it depends on the type of movie, right? If it's a horror movie, count me out. So our action item today is to just try this visualization technique. There's a write-up about how to do it step by step in Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group. You can find it there. Otherwise, if you've got any questions, ask. It's a really easy, most visualization techniques are pretty easy and simple. We just make them more complicated than they have to be, right? We all have the ability. We think in pictures and we imagine already. Sometimes we just don't think we do it good enough. I don't know what we're comparing ourselves to, but we're all great at visualizing. And then just come up with at least 3 to 5 steps of how you want to break down your goals so that we can go on to the next step of the process, which is, I don't know what it is. I'm not looking at it. Any questions? Ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have an awesome day.